I'm Nu-Trix, and today we're looking into a new plugin from Hornet Plugins. Now, if you don't know Hornet Plugins, they've been making really cool plugins for desktop, Mac, and PC, and they're really aimed at helping you make better mix. Actually, they use these plugins to simplify their life when they're mixing, to get the sound they want more quickly and more efficiently. So there's a lot of tools that they have that are just help you make a better mix quicker. Now this one is TotalEQ Mark II. So let's just listen. Let's just try the AutoEQ. So I press AutoEQ. Yeah, do it. And then we wait. So if I turn it off, go, does it actually work? Well, actually, if I click on this one and I go solo, you see, you hear it. So you have all of these different types of EQ: low pass resonance, low pass, high pass resonant, high pass, bell, bell 2, low shelving with resonance, low shelving, high shelving with resonance, high shelving, bend pass 2, notch, all pass, and tilt. So you can actually say, well, I'm gonna high shelf, that's what I want. And you have the frequency. I mean, you can do it like this, but you can also go in and change these value here, or change, you see, the slope here, which is really cool. And you can mute it. Again, just mute it. So this one does not work anymore. Or you can go into expanded view, and then you see you want to have analog saturation, or you want dynamic compression. Dynamic works better if I'm using something like this, like a bell. I'll go bell. You see, the graphic here changes. Goes. It only is when you hit minus 12 dB of the maximum that it actually goes into working. You can also have a global amount of saturation and have an analog sounding. You can also have, let's say we boost this. You hear it. Hear the ringing of the bass. Okay. And it's too much. But let's say it's too much. I go equal loudness. So now it will equalize or balance the loudness so that the whole overall loudness is controlled. So what you're going to have is that it's going to bring down the volume because you boosted so much of the bass. Now the high end sounds soft, because if you want this to go back in, you have to bring that down. Now this one is coming back up because you're using equal loudness. It brings back so that they have the loudness of the mix does not overdrive, basically. So this is also good. And if you want to see without, so like any good EQ, you don't need to use too much if you just want to clean up stuff. And this is very efficient to clean up stuff. I mean, you just double tap, you add another one, and then you click on it, you decide which one you want, and then you work with this. So this is really cool. Now I'm going to turn this one off for now. I'm going to try another sound without it. I'm going to go AutoEQ. Do that for me, please. Okay, so you hear the difference now. Without. With. Off. Find it really interesting. The decision on what, and it feels more enhanced. So, okay, let's keep it like this for this one. And the last one is going to be a, this one works. So let's go AutoEQ for this one. Yeah. Okay. Without. With. It has more bite. That's cool. Let's say we try this one here, solo. This one's interesting. Let's say this one. Let's say saturation. And this one also. Saturation. There you go. There you go, saturation here. And analog sounding. So without it, a little more presence, more bite. It's interesting. Now I'm going to talk about something interesting, is that I use the TotalEQ Mark II on each of the tracks separately. And I asked it to automatically do a good mix, a good EQ for each of the tracks separately, which is a good thing, but at the same time, it's a bad thing. And you'll understand is that when you, and it's something you learn very quickly when you start mixing, when you clean up and work on each of your sounds without being in context of other instruments, you're doing weird choices, and it sounds good on a single thing. When you bring it into the rest of the mix, it doesn't sound right because it's fighting with the other sounds. So listening to the context of everything else gives you usually a better EQ, better compressor, better mix, because you're listening to your sound in context. Now, here, the plugin only listened to each of the tracks separately, so it has no context as a global mix. But still, when I play them all together, it gives you something that is good. Without it. The bass is a little bit more biting. And of course, you could go back to the drum and say, I want more drum. Or you could go back and edit this one to have more. Then it becomes a personal choice. Okay? But let's try something else. If I don't use any of these and I put it on the master out instead, so the master, which is, if I play everything else, goes here. This one, I'm going to load a new one. Let's say, turn it on. Say AutoEQ, yes. See? In this one, it brought the piano louder, and the combination between the bass and the piano is more logical. It has a better proportion than if I worked on each of them separately. So it's a great plugin. The AutoEQ right away gives you something that you can work with, and then of course you can tune it the way you want. But I found, like anything you do when you try to work on the mix, that it sounds better when you use it in context. And when you group things together, it can do a more intelligent choice of saying, well, that bass and that piano, these are the frequencies I can play with, so that the piano and the bass have a better relationship, if you want. So this is really good. I really like it. Just goes really quickly. I think it's going to be a great, good way to just edit it really quickly. But then even on the master mix, this is something really great. It just works really quickly, and it gives you an idea of what you can do to see the errors and optimize your mix. Now, the only thing I would wish to see is presets. There's no presets whatsoever. And I understand this logic, because I feel that with the AutoEQ and then just tweaking what you want, that's what he's driving you to do. But at the same time, you might say, I don't care about the AutoEQ. I want to do something that sculpts my sound in a different way, that really is to use it as an EQ to completely destroy my sound. I want to have a radio noise, a radio sounding. I want something that's very nasal. I want something that's very bassy. You could have these things, but if you just want it to sound better, the AutoEQ is good right away. Then the thing I wish I had, if we talk about presets, that if I click on just one, the expanded view, if you had here the option of loading a preset, hard compression, a couple of different ones, so I could just load them and try different things if I didn't like what the AutoEQ gave me. Again, AutoEQ has a objective of making it just well balanced, but maybe that's not what I want. Maybe I want to scrap my sound here, because it's just only part of a bigger mix, and I want to get rid of everything that is low end, and I want the high end to sound nasal. Then I would like to have a preset. So that's it. But it might not be the reason why this exists, but it could do it. So it's just a question of having presets for that. Or maybe AutoEQ with an objective, clean AutoEQ, compressed AutoEQ, clean, breathing, whatever. I'm just putting ideas out there because I feel that this is really good by itself, but having more maybe control of what you're trying to obtain, that'd be even better. That's it. It's a good job. Hornet Plugins are just doing great tools that aims to answer a question that is making better mix quickly. Great. Stay safe, make more music, and see you soon. Cheers.